Hi, this is Maggie, and I am doing my video for the second coaching session this week, which was encountering the negative in your client. And so my partner is Cody Lightfuss, and we started off, and he described a situation in his current position in residence life, and where he supervises his RAs, and he was describing how it's difficult for him to get them to follow through on some of the tasks and initiatives that he assigns to them. And so I listened while he described his situation. I took a few notes along the way, but I really spent more time trying to listen to his story. And so the first question for this week was, what did it feel like as the coach? And in these types of situations, I tend to listen for, I guess, cues or hints about that will inform me of what I'm going to say next. And so I didn't do that this time. This time I just listened to his story, and I tried to be sincere in listening to everything that he had to say. And I liked this approach better. It felt a lot more relaxing, and I didn't feel so much pressure on myself trying to think of what I was going to say next. Next question, how did I respond to his story? What kind of questions did I ask? I was actually really surprised at how easily I was able to think of appropriate coaching questions. Not spending all of my time during his time talking, thinking of what I was going to say next. I was actually able to think pretty easily of some questions at the end of his story. So the first question that I asked him was about the exception. And so in the Appreciative Coaching text and chapter 2, it talks about solution-focused brief therapy. And that's basically, there's 3 questions, I guess, that are kind of the hallmark for this technique. And the first question is about the exception. So basically, if a client is describing a situation where they feel like there's an occurrence that there's always the same outcome, you're supposed to ask that client about a time where there's been an exception, where they've actually gotten a more positive outcome. And so I asked him that question in regards to his RAs, if there was any times where he's given his RAs tasks or assignments to do where they followed through, and he was actually able to think of some, and it seemed to change the energy a little bit in the conversation and make it a little bit more positive. And so the next question I asked him was about what approaches that he's enjoyed in his managers. And again, this question, I was trying to elicit some positive feelings that he had about work styles and work experiences, and also try to maybe get him to think about how he might apply those techniques that he's enjoyed in his role supervising the RAs. And so his response to that question led me to my next question, which was about, I asked him what were, in his experience or view, is the best way to build a positive rapport with colleagues and people you work with, and he was able to come up with some good answers to that question. Again, I wanted to frame it positively, so I feel like that question was positively framed and also elicited maybe some positive memories of work experiences. And so finally, because the situation has already kind of been resolved, he talked about how, because the spring semester is over, he's no longer supervising those RAs. And so at this point, we have been talking for about 15 minutes, so I wanted to be respectful of his time, and I could have asked some follow-up questions because he said that in this situation, he kind of just waited out the semester, and that was the resolution, was just to wait until the semester was over so that he could wait out the issue, I guess. And so I could have asked more follow-up questions based on that response, but to be respectful of our time, I ended the session there. And so I guess my question was, at the end of every session, if there should be some kind of concrete resolution or future action items that both the coach and the client agree upon together. And so that was my session this week, and I apologize for going over the 2 minutes, and I practiced this a couple times trying to make it under 2 minutes, but it's almost 5. So there you go. Thank you. Have a good day.